Bill Ackman has a UBI proposed solution for wealth inequality, which is geared towards retirement instead of towards your, so UBIs every year, you just get a certain amount of money from the government. His proposal for UBI is the government creates an investment account for every child born and then invests it into a zero cost equity fund such that when they turn 65, they have $1 million. Mm-hmm. And that's his version of UBI, which I was like, I don't know if this is good or bad, but it's something I've never heard anyone talk about.
Instead of paying you over the course of your life, they invest on your behalf with tax revenue. So, yeah, essentially what they're doing is they're taxing you and saying you have to invest this and you'll get it back.
But no matter how much money you make over the course of your life or what you do, at 65, you have $1 million.
Assuming that we invest it well and that the economy continues to do what it's done for 80 years, but not what Japan's has done. Yeah. I mean, it's the philosophy behind it is interesting, which is to say, and sometimes it's true, is that we know what to do with your money on your explicit behalf better than you. Now, there are some taxes that say, look, this isn't about what you do. It's about the fact that there's collective goals that require, like, we need streetlights. And no individual needs a streetlight. We need one every 60 feet, and they cost $2,000, and we all need to put a little bit of money in to get them. That's a collective thing. This is like, no, for you personally, you don't best know how to take care of yourself.
Well, that actually is his argument, which is to say,
the
amount of money this would take is very little, in his opinion. It's
if you started spending from day one, yeah.
And what he's saying is, if we give this person, if you just look at consumer behavior, people don't spend money in ways that he thinks are rationally intelligent, and they waste it. And so his argument is, if you give people UBI, they're going to spend it on stupid stuff. And people argue this now with all sorts of things. And his solution isn't don't do UBI, because that's the counter argument to UBI is people will waste it. He's saying do UBI
and force investment,
and then everybody will just be taken care of when they can no longer work. And then people won't have to worry about saving for retirement, so they can spend even more of their money stupidly. So they just have to support themselves till 65, basically, through his thing. And they can make all the dumb decisions that they're making because we're not going to be able to change their behavior, but we'll just have them taken care of so that the fact that they didn't save anything won't hurt them.
Interesting. I mean, I'm 0% an expert on this. The thing that makes sense to me from a governmental perspective, and even if you take apart government, people inevitably recoalesce and form groups of people and then ask for dues and then spend money on collective things like fraternities. We want to have a fraternity party. Everybody pay your dues. People, even if you destroy governments, reform them in order for collective goals to be achieved. Mm-hmm. This is an interesting idea. And I guess we do it in some ways with Social Security, right? Where they force you to pay into it. Mm-hmm. I guess my sense is if it works, I do think that there's always going to be this tension between freedom and the majority doing well. And in a purely, ultimately free society, the majority will not do great, which I guess I'm not strong on this. Yeah, I could see the role of the government to be like, we're going to curtail your freedom for you specifically to make you make wise decisions because you aren't going to do it on average. Some of you might. Enough. It's just an interesting value prop of a government, which is we're smarter than you, and we have your best interest at heart, which of course you can't always trust, because then what if they poorly manage that? What if some bureaucrat decides that he wants to borrow against it, or you know what I mean? There's all other sorts of ways that could go wrong if they don't actually have your best interest in mind. So I don't know. Interesting idea, though.
Yeah. It also assumes that you make good decisions at 65, because the whole premise is that
you could take a $1 million dump one day.
Yeah, because the whole premise is that you're going to make bad decisions in your teens, 20s, and 30s. So in your teens, 20s, and 30s, you're going to waste your money.
That's interesting.
And so you're going to not have savings, and then at 65, you're a drain on society because you can't support yourself.
And then $1 million is going to take you to the end of your days, which it won't.
Well, the other thing though is that people will not just go spend that $1 million immediately.
Or plan on it.
Be out of it.
Or take debt out.
Be out of it at 66.
Take debt out at age 50, knowing that they have a big payday coming at age 65, which of course would become the norm. Yeah, and I think this is the argument against shielding people from responsibility, is they just learned that that's how the world works, is that someone else takes care of things. Yeah, I guess that's the Jordan Peterson Republican, you got to take responsibility argument, even if it sucks. Interesting. No, I think that's a really good argument against it, which is why would these people who have been sheltered from bad decisions all of a sudden with $1 million payday at age 65 not borrow against that beforehand, or not blow it all, or, you know, like now they're gonna ration that money over the next 25 years. You didn't think they could do it previously, but now all of a sudden now they have this brilliant financial acumen. Now what are they gonna do? Invest it? They haven't had to invest. You've taken that away from them. Interesting. Yeah. I guess the big thing is, even I was thinking of my grandpa, and we talked about the fourth turning. It's like, unfortunately, it seems like, how are you raised? Like, what was the circumstances in which you were raised? Did you have to save money back then? Cool. You'll be fine for the rest of your life. Saving's going to be second nature to a degree that it cripples you. Like, was money fast and easy back then? Good. You're going to be screwed in terms of you're just going to blow it forever. Unless there's a massive shock at some point in your life that really reorients you.
Fast and easy doesn't even have to mean a lot, though. Like, there's people who have terrible savings habits, and it's not because they grew up with a lot of money. It's just because they grew up around people.
Yeah.
Not with a flow. Just with a flow. When it came in, it was just spent on something potentially stupid, and then gone into a consumer good, into a wearable. And it doesn't require you to have grown up with a lot of money, just to have grown up with that sense that whatever you make should be spent immediately. And then that's all it takes to just give you bad economic habits for your entire life.
Yeah. I'm not convinced, but the handful of things that we talked about today, and I was watching videos about China and kids and Joe Biden's plan and seniors, and he's trying to do a new preschool thing, which may or may not work. I don't know if it's schools or homes or whatever, but it really does seem like the best investment you can make is to like love and support children and give them the best habits that you know how from good role models who genuinely care about them. And that pays you back over the course of the rest of their life as a society. And if you're, their parents, hopefully. So I don't know how the government's supposed to do that, or even if the government should be involved in doing that, or what sorts of incentives it needs to set up. But yeah, children are the future.
Yeah. You're just going to end up in circles thinking about this too much, but what do you do when someone doesn't know the answers themselves? So you have someone who knows nothing about nutrition and they have a kid, and then they give that kid terrible nutritional habits because they don't realize that ice cream and Sprite is bad.
Yeah.
And they just want their kid to be happy. So that kid eats nothing but ice cream and Sprite till they're 10 because they're very loved, and then has the worst nutritional base you could possibly have.
Yeah. Well, this is the problem of government, is that, for a while, and I think I don't want to mischaracterize all libertarians, but the idea is like, look, you just do you and I'll just do me, and we'll have the minimal government possible. Well, here's the problem is, if you live next door to me and you behave in, I don't know, even the way that your diet is horrible and everyone around you has a horrible diet, and you start dying off in droves in the society, like, we depend on one another. We can't actually totally separate from one another, which is why we try to set up these government where we have rules and regulations by which we all need to behave, because we all, as much as we would like to say that we're not, are dependent upon one another. So yeah, I don't know. What do you do? Then you have these school programs where they give you the food pyramid, but the food pyramid's upside down, and they got all the carbs on the bottom. So I don't know, man. This is what... Hope that you guys enjoyed that clip. If you want to see more like this and have us do more podcasts, we are 100% funded by our generous patrons. And if you'd like to contribute, there's a link in the description, and we'll have one pop up on the screen right here so that we can do more podcasts where we have fun conversations and hopefully some deep ones like this. Either way, hope that you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one.